Okay, I would like to continue to present you some of the games from the Soviet Championships. It's a very interesting book because it recalls also the social changes of the period. For example, in 1924, FIDE was founded, but the Soviets, the USSR, and Russia refuse to enter in it because they consider it too much bourgeois. And obviously they were under the Marxist Leninist regime. So also the politics was interesting. Now we are going to see the second Soviet championship. As we can see, and this is also interesting, I think, there is the table of the results that gives you little by little an idea of also how the main player changed. And that was the very interesting part, because you see that at a certain point some of the winners start to be the last in the table going forward, showing that age eats everybody. This was a 12 rounds championship played in Petrograd. Okay, the game that we show is Piotr Romanovsky against Yakov Bilner. Piotr means Peter. Romanovsky is white and he starts the game with e4. Knight f6 is the Alekhine defense, d3, d5, e5. Strictly speaking, this move deserves reproach as we turn into a French defense, in which d2, d3 is a pointless move. Nowadays one would prefer knight bd2, this one. And then g3 and bishop g2. But notice that if you do this, I don't think this is a French defense, this is a King's Indian attack. So the idea is totally different, okay? So e5, knight f, d7, f4, e6, knight f3, and bishop e7. Yeah, in this case, this is not a Alekhine anymore. This is a French, and now probably there will be this and this, but let's see what happens, okay? Yeah, d4, c5, c3. So this is a French advance at this point. Now we have a typical French, except that it is black to move, not white. Formally speaking, white opening play doesn't make sense. However, Romanovsky himself thought it more important to pose problems for the opponent than to play absolutely correctly in accordance with classical principle. Well, in reality there is another reason. Black was prepared with the Alekhine defense, so maybe he knows everything about the pawn structure of the Alekhine defense, but this is the French, so if he doesn't know how to play the French, that's an advantage, okay? Knight c6, bishop e2, queen b6, castle, and now f6 obviously is putting pressure on different parts of the pawn chain. Generally one can find many games in Nimzovich chess praxis that illustrates the French advance and how to apply pressures to the different parts of the pawn chain. King h1, obviously, because he wants to take it away from this diagonal. Castle. b3. The result of the opening is that white has problems mobilizing his forces. The text is an attempt to solve these problems, but it has a tactical flaw. Probably the objectively correct move was queen b3. But white had hardly gained space in order to follow this with the offer of a queen exchange. Okay. a5. Bishop f3. And now white has a good position because this is, well, yeah, it's protected, but rook e8. So the problem here is that this knight can go here, here, and then enter into the position. So one must be careful what is going to do next, okay? Bishop d3. Okay, here the text says, finally white has created some threats, black has to reckon with the tactical threat of knight g5, f takes g5, and queen h5. But yet the problem is that he still didn't finish the development, so I don't know. So black plays f5. Strange as it may seem, this natural move is almost the decisive mistake. The cold-blooded knight f8, e takes f6, g takes f6 would lead to complex play with chances for both sides. So let's see why this is the mistake. So why do you think this is the mistake? You are white, you should take a minute, pause the video, and see what would you play if you were in white shoes. g4, this is the move, okay? Because he's trying to open the lines to attack this king that in a sense is kind of unprotected. Knight f8. Unexpectedly it turns out that black's pieces, mass on the queen side, cannot easily be transferred to the other side, where white is starting the active play. And here it shows two long lines in case black would have played f takes g4 or g6. And in both cases black loses. Let's see some of them because I think the analysis is kind of interesting. So let's see, obviously they had to calculate during the game this move, what would happen. Knight g5, bishop takes g5, f takes g5, c takes d4, bishop takes h7, king takes h7, and queen takes g4. Sorry, I need to show you the line again. No, it's okay. And here it says black is helpless. Let's see why. Okay, see, this is the right thing. Okay. So, how does black survive this? It's a problem because this controls the square, so you cannot really. Let's say that you do this, okay? Let's see. Check. He goes here. And now he can play this, or he can play directly this, Oh, let's see, check, goes here, here, probably this is the end. Wait, it's even better, probably, it's even better, maybe. Let's see, tack. Yeah, okay, it's a little difficult to survive this. Let's go back and see the other line. Because again, there is this, everybody is here and all the pieces are on the wrong side. So more or less we were around here when black played f5. But strangely, in the book he writes it's decisive mistakes, but he just put the thing of a dubious move. In any case, g4, and now we see the other line. What happens if black played g6? Notice that this line are just 3 moves long, 3-4 moves long. In this case, this line is like more than 6 moves, so I don't think you can really calculate it at the board without using a lot of time. G takes f5, G takes f5, rook g1, king h8, knight g5, bishop takes g5, rook takes g5, c takes d4, and this move, I don't know, doesn't make much sense because unfortunately it opens the diagonal for the bishop, and so it cuts away a square that can be used for a pawn. I don't know, okay, queen h5, queen d8, knight d2, he wants to bring this into the game, rook g8, rook takes g8, queen takes g8, and rook g1, and here the evaluation is, and black can resign. But why? Because here it cannot go, right? Here it cannot go because it's taken. So where does it go, this queen? Here it cannot go. It's a problem. So let's say that it goes here, because it must go out of the way, right? I don't know, probably now you can play this, and take this. It's clearly a problem, but he has time then to bring something back, probably. Yeah, but not enough time, probably. And let's notice also this, it's a problem. So let's see, if he plays this, what does it do, black? What does it do? The problem is checkmate here, right? So how do you prevent this checkmate? There is no good way. There is not a good way to prevent it. Okay, so this is the reason. There is not a good way to prevent checkmate here. And yeah, that's it. Okay, I will return back to the position in which we were. Okay, I think this was the position. White played g4, and now we continue to see the game. Black played knight f8, g takes f5, e takes f5, so white has its breakthrough. c4, bishop e6, c takes d5, bishop takes d5, and knight c3. White's attack unleashes itself like a coiled spring. Obviously, in such cases, one does not mind the loss of a pawn. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, knight takes d4, knight d5, no way. Tak. So knight takes f3, knight takes b6, and then knight takes f3, knight b6. He has to move this, and he cannot move it here because there is this. So he has to move it, let's say, here, and then he loses that. So here, I hope you were able to visualize. Tak, tak. He cannot move the rook here because of this. Let's say he moves it here. Tak. So black has lost one piece. Okay. So let's go back. Okay. So he has to move the queen. Queen d8. Queen g2, obviously going away from that knight. b5, trying to close that bishop. Here it says a strange thing, in my opinion. It says probably the best defense in this difficult position. Okay, so this is the only move he could play. That's it. There is no other way to survive. Rook a d1. Now you must always be careful once there is a rook on the same file of the queen, because often the pieces go away very fast and the queen is the real target. And rook a6, and here there is a diagram, okay, which means at this point you pause the video and you try to find the correct move for white. Okay, what is the correct move for white? Try to think 5 minutes, maybe you find it, maybe you don't, it doesn't matter, but that's the good exercise you should do, otherwise you're wasting time. Knight f6 is the move, an effective choice demanding deep calculation. Let's see why. Bishop takes f6, bishop takes c5, knight f e6, bishop takes d4, knight takes d4, and bishop takes b5, forking this, but the problem is that this is pinned because behind there is the queen. It makes also a rhyme. Another picturesque position. White is a piece down, but he is attacking 4 of his opponent pieces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Painful material losses are now unavoidable for black. Let's see what happens. He decided to take the queen. What should I take the bishop and lose the queen? Rook takes d8. Rook takes d8. Sorry guys, the king was here, not there. Yeah, I made a mistake, but I hope at this point. So, rook takes d8, rook takes d8, queen b7, tak. Because the problem was that if he would have taken with this, that's why it was important that it was here, there is queen d5, okay, tak. So that's why, you know, if we would have taken it with that. But queen b7, knight c7, try to defend the rook, and queen takes c7, and black resign. A virtuoso attacking performance by Romanowski. In fact, it's a beautiful game, but again, I think the problem was that Romanowski did the right thing. He changed the pawn structure from an Alekhine to a French, and his opponent didn't deal well with the French, as we can see, because he went on the queen side and he left the king side totally open. These kind of games generally today in tournament are very easy to win against 1600 rated players, because the 1600 rated players generally they don't deal well with the attack, they don't really calculate well the consequences, and so they actually lose on that side. So this game was coming from the Soviet Championship. This was the second Soviet Championship. Definitely a beautiful game by the winner of the tournament.